What's good, everybody? It's the Saber054. I got a new deck profile to show you guys for the standard format. It's just gonna be a lightning deck, some standard cards you're gonna expect. This isn't gonna be a Raikou Miraidon deck. It's gonna be a Flaaffy, I guess, Miraidon deck with Regieleki as the other attacker. Some pretty simple stuff, really just exploiting Miraidon, a very good card from the first Scarlet and Violet set. Just letting you grab 2 basic lightning Pokemon every turn, play them on your bench. Just pretty good, pretty broken actually. Good stats for a basic EX, very workable, solid attack, doing a good chunk of damage too. You know, 220 for 3, and then the only drawback is that you can't attack next turn. We can easily play around that. And you just need 3 lightning energies to do this. So obviously it's a very easy Pokemon to pair up with Flaaffy, with Dynamotor. We can easily power him up. And these cards basically help each other. Miraidon helps Flaaffy just get set up, and then Flaaffy helps Miraidon get the energies it needs to attack. So, standard stuff, I'm doing 3 Miraidon as one of the main attackers in the deck. And then I do Regieleki as well. We don't really have any Pokemon that I guess we can really exploit with Flaaffy, you know, the old Rayquazas, you know, discard a bunch of energies and get straight up one-hit knockouts. I've looked around for some attackers. I mean, maybe since I built this deck we got some different stuff than Regieleki, but I don't know. I don't really think so. I would have perhaps known. This is just a good little basic Pokemon that does a good total amount of damage for the energy you gotta pay and discard. You know, you're gonna discard all lightning energies attached on Regieleki, which is pretty much everything since we only have lightning energies here. You do 120 on the active and then 40 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So basically total damage is 200 if your opponent doesn't block the bench damage. And then this little spread damage can add up. You know, you attack twice with Regieleki, a different one because they're always going to be dying in one shot. But you set up 80 damage on your opponent's Pokemon, on 2 different Pokemon, if you spread the damage on the same Pokemon. And this can soften them up enough for Miraidon to finish them off when it attacks. So you kind of have to use these cards together and be mindful when is the best time to use this guy or this guy, depending on the Pokemon, depending on the matchup. But this is a very simple deck, a very good beginner deck, I'd say. So the Flaaffy line is going to be 3 and 3. Most people would do 4 and 4, but I've always been kind of a 3 and 3 guy. You know, you don't really want to have all 4 spots in your bench for Flaaffies, and you're not always going to be able to get all of them. Anyway, so 3 is good enough. I mean, there's always the problem where if one gets prized or more gets prized, or if one dies and what have you, then you're kind of in a pickle. But we do have recovery options, of course, and you got your manual attachments too. These guys only need 3 energies to attack. Miraidon doesn't even discard energies. Is this guy that's going to be the problem? You know, discarding, and the double retreat is kind of bad too. Kind of gets you in your way sometimes when you want to switch. We do have a few switching outlets we're going to look at. But anyway, it's 3 and 3 for the attackers, 3 and 3 for the Flaaffies. And then the last 2 Pokemon are just some water techs. Radiant Greninja makes perfect sense in this deck as a Radiant Pokemon. Discard outlet for energies, set them up, combo with Flaaffy, and then draw cards, boost your consistency. So, obvious card. I mean, there isn't really any other better Radiant Pokemon to run in this deck. And then Manaphy for that bench protection. Initially, I didn't have this card in. I had, it was a different tech. It was, what's it called, like the rescue carrier, letting you grab the Flaaffies and mareeps back in the hand, sort of recovery card. But it's just much better to have that bench protection. There's just so many things that can kill the little Flaaffies. Greninja picking on them, other Pokemon picking on them, so gotta have this. I mean, I always almost have it, and then this one time I decided, hey, let me just not have it for once, and then in the end it's still important. Okay, so that's the Pokemon. It's pretty standard stuff. If you do want to run your Raikou V, if you want to run some different attackers, it's up to you. But this is just, I wanted it to be a very consistent, very just straightforward, not too many different Pokemon, running big numbers deck, and that's how it is. So for our trainers, we run a lot of ball cards, Pokemon searches. I got the 3 nest balls. Gotta have the 4 level balls and 3 ultra balls to fetch our Pokemon. Ultra ball is a discard outlet, heavy duty, but a discard outlet nonetheless for lightning energies, and it allows us to get any Pokemon, including the Fluffies and the other basics. Nest ball just grabs anything besides the Fluffies, and then level ball, of course, grabs all of our small guys, Fluffies, mareeps. You gotta have it. Can get Manaphy too if you really want to get it. So that's pretty good. We got some straight draw, straight consistency, item-based, well, draw. Trekking shoes, really good in this deck. Draw, discard something you don't need. A lot of cards that we run in multiples that we're not gonna need eventually. And if you reveal lightning energies, then obviously you can just discard them, get them in the discard pile that way, and then draw cards, thin the deck. Pretty good. Energy search, a thinner card, searcher card, same idea. Grab that lightning energy, then we can attach it, discard it, do what we got to do. Pretty nice. Just something that you can use Miraidon with as well, to just, if you really just don't see any energies. But we got a lot of energies in this deck, we should be able to see them most of the time. But you got this as another thinner card. Alright. Then I got triple switch, a lot of switching outlets in this deck. Usually in a deck like this, we used to have like Keldeo, Downwings, Necrozma, these sorts of Pokemon, and then you put Floatstone or even the Air Balloon, and you get some good free retreat around the board. You get some good control over that. We don't have these types of cards now. We don't even have like Air Balloon, let alone Downwings, Necrozma, or Floatstone. If I had some of those cards, then you attach the Air Balloons on your Fluffies and then you can promote them. But we do not. The closest thing we got is the stadium, like the beach cord, training cord, whatever the hell it is, giving your basic Pokemon one less retreat. Pretty much works like the Skyro Bridge from back in the day. But I really don't want a favorite. I want to run different stadiums that give us more disruption and consistency. Plus, things like this Regieleki wouldn't be very compatible. I mean, I guess I can just attach an energy and then I can retreat. But it's kind of shitty if you ask me. Plus, that stadium can benefit our opponent greatly. For stadiums, we run the Stormy Mountains as a card that's going to let me grab lightning Pokemon and help my consistency setting up, especially if we play first. And then Path to the Peak, of course, really going to disrupt a lot of different decks. And the only thing that affects us here is Greninja and then Miraidon. But Miraidon, once you use it in the beginning and get your Pokemon, I mean, you got to keep in mind, you're searching up a lot of Pokemon, not even using your nest balls and stuff. You're going to be pretty good. So once you use Miraidon in the early game and then you play this down, you don't really get affected besides the Greninja, which is another card that once you do set up your lightning energies in the discard pile, you don't really care to lose. So Path to the Peak just makes a lot of sense in this deck for me, and I'm running it. If you don't want to run it, you can do like the Temple of Sinnoh, you can do the Beach Court, once again, get that -1 retreat on basic Pokemon. A bunch of different stadiums we can use. You can do more of this, Stormy Mountains, but it's probably not that necessary. I mean, I guess it's gonna help if you always want to play. I do aim to play first in this deck, and I guess it boosts up your consistency exponentially, even more. Just make sure you always get that Miraidon and get those mareeps down. But just one, and Path to the Peak, I prefer that. So three stadiums. And then the last non-supporter card is this Bravery Charm. Just one tech tool. Just something to put on the Miraidon because I want it to last. If it can take a big hit and live, it's pretty good. This is going to make it have 270 HP, which is... it's good enough, it'll come up. And yeah, we don't have the greatest HP on our Pokemon here, but we aim to be fast and aggressive. Hopefully set up the Fluffies in time and then start dishing out damage every turn. Not really let up. So this is something that I got in here. You can put something else if you want. And then the last thing to talk about is pretty much the supporter cards, some standard stuff. In this deck we run 3 Professor Research, heavy duty discard outlet, and very good draw, of course. It's one of the decks that we can use a lot of copies of this card, and it shouldn't be many problems. I got the 4 Iono as well, /N, good draw card, disruption card, very, very good. 1 Shauna and 1 Copycat. Depending on your preference, you can do more of each one or drop one completely. It just depends on what you want. I do one of each. Copycat is obviously going to be good against your opponent's big hands, but then if they don't, then it'll kind of fall short, and then Shauna is just more consistent, and that it always gives you 5. Not going to give your opponent cards like Iono, so you know, it's good. I wish we had like Professor Oak's New Theory /Cynthia, just the straight shuffle and draw 6, but we got the weaker version now. At least there's a nice full art. This little chick. Anyway. And then I got, what else do I got? I mean, Cynthia's Ambition. Since we do run the Regielekis and they're going to be dying in one shot, this is going to give me that plus drawn 2, have 8. Drawn 2, have 5. It can be nice too if we don't have much going on. So, nice supporter card, once again. I mean, I don't have any Luminions. I don't have any, you know... I got the trekking shoes, I guess. I got a lot of search cards, but we need enough supporter cards so that we don't brick. And then, I think the last card is... damn, I actually don't even have Irida from the looks of things here. But I suppose it wouldn't be necessary in this deck, now that I think about it. I mean, you just search one card. It's not like we're looking for rare candies and shit. So disregard what I said with Irida and energy Surge. There isn't any any Irida in here. But it isn't necessary, quite honestly. There's a reason why I didn't have it. I just got the shit confused with a different deck. But anyway, last supporter cards is the Miriam, Pot of Avarice. Very, very good card in this deck. Recover the Flaaffies, maybe some of our attackers. You never know, depending on what we use and what dice. And then you draw 3 cards as well. Great card. And then Boss's Orders, of course. Use it at the right time. Win the game. Just good stuff for sure. That's the deck. I mean, I don't believe I missed anything. Just really standard stuff. A lot of cards played in big numbers. Just a very consistent, straightforward beginner deck, I'd say. And then 12 Lightning Energies. You know, no bullshit. No complications. Just the stuff you need to discard with Greninja, set up your discard pile, grab them back with Flaaffies, and then get your manual attachments for you guys to attack. Simple shit. And this is the deck. I mean, it's not a new deck with new cards from Paldea Evolved. It's not really a groundbreaking, super creative deck, I guess, but I've used it a lot. Maybe I'll show you guys an updated version for Palkia V-Star as well. The problem with Palkia, the Palkia deck, maybe you guys know this, maybe you don't. There's a fucking glitch with the Barbaracle that sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen, and sometimes I get auto wins, I get auto losses that I don't deserve, or it gets stuck when your opponent gets prizes, and then they're supposed to go to the loss zone, and then the game sort of glitches up and gets stuck. And obviously I can't show you guys matches like that. So... it's, yeah, but I mean, I have updated with stuff like Iono and other cards, and it's much better than it was when I first showed it on the channel. So the Palkia Visa deck is definitely good, but this is pretty good as well. Just a good beginner, straightforward deck. You get a good benefit playing first or second with this deck. I try to play first with it, even though sometimes it can be risky. If you can't get the Miraidon and get the searching going on, or Greninja at least. But I mean, it's really nice. I guess to talk about the switches, once again, 3 switches. Make use of them wisely. I mean, on the big retreat guys like Regieleki when it gets stuck. These guys like Miraidon and Greninja, you know, these types of Pokemon, if they're in the active position, you can just attach a Lightning Energy and retreat. So unless you can't really make an attack, because you gotta do Fluffies and a Madeline attachment on your attacker, then you'd rather save the switches perhaps. But you guys are gonna see in my games how I play with this deck and what I do. It's not anything super complicated. Very basic deck. So I'll see you guys on the matches. As always, waiting for the next set, I suppose. Don't even know when it's gonna come out. It's the 150 one that's gonna come before the Obsidian Flames, I'd say. We'll see what happens. I like to post other videos that's not Pokemon TCG stuff, but when I do, I think viewers on my channel don't like the shit. What can you do, I guess? I mean, I can't have 50 billion channels for all the types of different videos that I gotta make. I do like the Bloodborne videos on the Whimsy G Players channel now. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the matches with this deck. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. What a